Okay, so we are going to start from chapter 9 in Santanam's version, Arishtadhyayam, and then continue from there. Adau janmangato vipra arishtam vicharayet tatastanvadi bhavanam jatakasya phalam vadet. So he is saying, Adau, in the beginning, first of all, janmangato vipra. Janmangata means basically Lagna. From the Lagna, O Brahmin, Rishtarishtam vicharayet. Auspicious and inauspicious events, basically. All the evils, etc. you see, basically from Lagna. To start with, Adau literally means to start with. To start with, Chakshram Lagna. And then next one he says, Chaturvimshati varshani yavat gachanti janmatah janmarishtantu tavat syad ayurdayam na chintayet. So he is saying, if there are any aristas, which will be active till the 24th year, till 24 years of age, then don't do Janmarishtam to Tavat. Then that is the period of Janmarishtam, means inauspicious birth. Syad Ayuddayam Nachintayet. Don't look at longevity then. So what is the longevity based on the 3 parts rule and various other rules? Do not even consider those. If there is an Arishta, the Ayuddaya may not apply. And how to see Arishta, he is going to explain it in the next several verses. But he says, this is something that can actually override the longevity calculations that you may make based on the natal chart. And he says up to 24 years of age, this is active. Okay, now what are the combinations for Arishta? He is going to give some combinations here. Shasthashtarishbhagas Chandrah Krurai Khetaischa Vikshitah Jatasya Mrithyudah Sajjah Tvashtar Shaih Shubhekshitah. Okay. So he is saying the first combination is Shasthashta Rishbhaga Chandraha. Shastha means 6, Ashta means 8, Rishbha means 12. So Ga means has gone into those. So it means Shasthashta Rishbhaga means either in the 6th or in the 8th or in the 12th. Who? Chandraha means moon. If moon is in the 6th house, 8th house or 12th house, of course from Lagna, and not only that, Kruraihi Khetaischa Vikshitaha, which means aspected by Krura Grahas, inauspicious or malefic planets. Jatasya mrityudah sajjah tvashtarshaihi subhekshidah. So he is saying, if moon is aspected by malefics and occupies 6th, 8th or 12th house, he gives birth very quickly, very premature birth to the baby. It's an inauspicious combination. However, subhekshidah, if he is aspected by malefic also, apart from being in the 6th, 8th and 12th and being aspected by malefic, if he is also aspected by a benefic planet, then Sajjah Tvashtar Shaihi, that means up to 8 years basically the longevity can be extended. Otherwise he seems to suggest that longevity is very small. There can be a premature death or at a very young age, 1 year or 2 year, that kind of age. Whereas if a benefic is also aspecting, then it can be prolonged up till 8 years. Yeah, 6th, 8th and 12th being aspected by malefics. Okay, when you say aspects, the aspect that he mentioned until then was basically the sign aspects. If you go back to the previous chapters, he only mentioned sign aspects until then. So you can conclude that it's sign aspect that he is talking about, perhaps. Yeah, that is what we can guess. He did not specify. And then he is saying, Shachivan Mrityuda Somya Chedvakra Kruravikshita Shishorjatasya Masena Lagne Somya Vivajjite. Now he is saying, Shashivan Mrutyudah Somyah Somyah Ched Vakrah Kruravikshitah. What does Somyah means? Somyah has one meaning, which is Mercury. But the thing is, he is using in a plural sense. Somyah means Somyas. So he is obviously not talking about 10 Mercuries or 5 Mercuries. So Somya's other meaning is benefic planets. So he is saying Shasivan Mrutyudah, just like moon also capable of giving death are benefic planets. Somyah Ched Vakrah Kruravikshitah. If benefic planets are retrograde and aspected by malefic planets, just like moon, they are also capable of giving death. Shishor Jatasya Masena Lagne Somya Vivarjite. If Lagna is not occupied by any benefic planet, if there are no benefic influences on Lagna, he seems to suggest only occupancy, but you can also extend it to aspects. So if Lagna is not aspected or occupied by any benefic planet, then any benefic planet who is retrograde and in the 6th, 8th or 12th house aspected by malefic planets can also give the same results as moon. You understand? So it's basically retrograde benefics as a substitute to moon in the previous combination. So that's what he is suggesting. Yasya janma nidhi sthasyu suryar kindu kuja bhadhah tasyatvasu janitri cha bhrata janidhanam vrajet. Okay. So he is saying, what is dhishtha means? Tha means occupying that particular place. Dhi means what is dhishthanam? Dhi is intelligence. What is the house of intelligence? Yes, 5th house. 5th house is the house of intelligence. So the 5th house is occupied by who? Shishor Jatasya Masena Yasya Janmani Dhishtha Syuh Surya Arki Indu Kujavadaha. So Surya means sun, Arki means Arki, the one who is born to Arka. Arka is sun, so Arki is Saturn. So sun, Saturn and Indu. Indu means moon. Surya, Arki, Indu, Kujavadaha. So Kuja means Mars. So if Sun, Mars and Saturn, if they are in the 5th house, Tasyatvasu janitricha bhrata janadhanam vrajet. So then he is saying either of mother or of brother. That is possible. So here he is not talking about short longevity of the actual person, but he is talking about mother or brother. Perhaps because moon is the significator of mother, if moon is afflicted by Sun, Mars or Saturn, there is some problem to mother. Similarly, Mars is the significator of brother, so probably if he is afflicted by Sun and Saturn, probably that shows brother passing away. He does not say all these planets have to be together. Even though Santanam seems to be translating it as should the 5th be occupied by Saturn, Mars and Sun jointly. First of all, he left Hindu. He left moon here. He only mentioned Saturn, Mars and Sun, even though Parasara mentions moon also. And Parasara does not say jointly. So it's vague. Parasara does not say whether one of them is sufficient or all of them are needed. But my guess is to expect all of them is tough. And at the same time to say that any one of them can give a problem, that is ridiculous. Just because moon is with Saturn or moon is with Sun, you can't expect mother to pass away. So probably you can expect two out of those 3 planets, Sun, Mars and Saturn. If 2 of those 3 planets afflict moon, you can expect some problem to mother. Probably not death, but some problem.
You don't think the lordship and all, if no planets are there, lordships affect or same results with you?
Lordship of which house?
The 5th house. I mean, we're talking about
That's again an extension, yes. For this combination you could extend saying 5th lord. But the thing is, he seems to be suggesting only the 5th house here. He does not specifically mention any other house. So
talking about any of those two malefics in Sun, Saturn, Mars with moon.
With moon. Yes, he is saying if Sun, Saturn or Mars, if Sun, Saturn, and Mars afflict moon, he does not say all of them or one of them. So it's probably some of them. Some of Sun, Saturn and Mars afflict Moon in the 5th house, there can be problem to mother. Similarly, our brother. Now the thing is, why 5th house? Why 5th house? 5th house is the house of Purva. So if there is any evil combination, any malefic combination in the 5th house, it doesn't basically show, it's not a nice combination. It shows some lack of Purva, some misfortune as a result of not having enough balance in your bank account. The bank account of karma is very weak basically, that's what it shows. Otherwise, if the bank account of karma is strong, even if Moon, 4th Lord, all these planets are afflicted, still mother may be fine. The person may be destined to get mother's love. On the other hand, if this combination is right there in the 5th house, it shows that the Purva is weak and it's afflicting the Moon. So, there can be problem relating to mother. Pardon me? Right, but the thing is that would that is definitely possible, but that would also require some cooperation of Jupiter. Jupiter is the Putrakaraka. So this combination given here by Parasara is for siblings and mother. Papekshito yuto bhaumo lagna gona shubhekshitah mrutyudastvashtamasthopi saurena arkena vajutah. Okay, now he is giving another combination. Papekshito yuto bhaumo. Papekshito means aspected by papagrahas, aspected by malefic planets. Yuto bhaumo. Yuto means joined. So he is saying either aspected or conjoined by malefic planets. Who? Bhauma means whom is sun, Mars. Lagna go na shubhekshitah. If he is in Lagna, if Mars is in Lagna and either conjoined or aspected by malefic planets and not aspected by any benefic planet. So there is no relief in terms of by way of aspect of a benefic planet. So Mars is in Lagna, only malefic planets are aspecting or conjoining him. Okay. Then or he is giving another combination. Mrutyudah means he gives death. And there is another combination. Mrutyudah to ashtamasthopi, or instead of Lagna in the 8th house also he is saying. Same combination. Actually same combination are not, let us analyze. Mrutyudas tvashtamasthopi saurena arkena vajutah. Okay. So he is saying, my interpretation is either Lagna or 8th house. The previous combination is either in the 8th house or Lagna, no benefic conjunction or aspect, only malefic conjunction or aspect, then he gives death. Or saurena arkena vayutah, or aspected by or conjoined by Sun or Saturn. So here the thing is, the last phrase basically saurena arkena vayutah can be interpreted as, basically there are 3 clauses. One is in Lagna with this combination, in 8th house with this combination, or in general in any house conjoined by Sun or Saturn. But to say that Mars with Sun or Saturn gives death in any house is ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. So my interpretation, my final interpretation is, even though Santanam seems to translate in a different way, my interpretation is either in Lagna aspected and conjoined by malefics without any benefic aspect or conjunction, or in the 8th house with Sun or Saturn, conjoined by Sun or Saturn. So aspects of malefics, no aspects of benefic, that condition applies only to Lagna. In the 8th house, if he is there, either along with either Sun or Saturn. So Mars with another malefic, either Sun or Saturn, in the 8th house, that can give death. So that is my interpretation. It
is Mars with Sun or Saturn in 8th house.
In 8th house. That is evil. Or Mars in Lagna with any malefic aspect or conjunction. It doesn't have.
Malefics only.
Malefic only. No benefics. Only malefics. Then that is a problem. And in this case, Mars in the 8th house with Sun or Saturn, he giving death. Whether benefic aspects will alleviate it or not, he is not specifically mentioning. So that is something that you have to basically deduce.
But when you say the death, this is the death of the native.
This is right now death of native. Only one line before mentioned mother and brother.
This doesn't say premature or at what line?
No, it doesn't say premature. But it says all these Arishta yogas are basically within a few years, basically death within a few years, less than 24 years basically. Then Chandra Surya Grahe Rahus Chandra Surya Yute Yadi Sauri Bhaume Kshitam Lagnam Pakshamekam Sajivati. Now there is a combination where longevity is limited to one Paksham, means fortnight. Chandra Surya Grahe Rahu Chandra Surya Grahe Rahus Chandra Surya Yuto Yadi Sauri Bhaume Kshitam Lagnam Paksham Ekam Sajivati. Okay, Chandra Surya Grahe means, let's see how he translated it. Saturn and Mars aspect the ascendant as luminaries join Rahu. Okay, he only talked about luminaries joining Rahu. Child will only live a fortnight. But the thing is, Chandra Surya Grahe to me means either solar or lunar eclipse. If the birth happens in a lunar or solar eclipse, or there is another condition given. Rahu's Chandra Surya Yuto Yadi. Even if there is no eclipse, if Rahu is either with Chandra or Surya. So either there is a lunar or solar eclipse, or even if there is no eclipse, moon or sun join Rahu, which is basically like eclipse, right? So in one of those two cases, also there is another clause. Sauri Bhaume Kshidam Lagnam Pakshamekam Sajivati. Sun and Mars have to aspect Lagna. Sun and Mars aspecting Lagna, and Rahu is with moon or sun, or there is an eclipse. Then the longevity is limited to a fortnight. Basically, if you see a new baby chart which has this kind of combinations, you should be careful. And also, by the way, this proves that, this discussion from Parasara proves that you can see the chart as soon as a baby is born. Some people believe that you can't see until 21 years or until a year, until the baby is older. The logic behind that, maybe you will come to wrong conclusions and use your Vagbala wrongly because the time may not be accurate and you don't have any events to rectify it. Such common sense logic may have been the motivation behind such rules. But technically, theoretically, there is nothing stopping you from seeing the chart of a baby as soon as the baby is born.
And this combination, when you talked about Sun or Moon with Rahu, it didn't mention which house.
It doesn't mention which house. So, any house is fine. But the thing is, Sun or Moon joining Rahu or but during an eclipse is very common. Not all those babies live only a fortnight. So, obviously the next condition of Sun and Mars aspecting Lagna, that is basically the key.
Because I have Sun and Rahu in 9th house.
Yeah.
In 9th house.
Yeah, you are fine. I have Moon and Rahu in the 6th house. But I am also fine. My Lagna is aspected only by Sun, but not by Sun and Mars. So I live more than a fortnight. Karmasthane sthitah saurih chatrusthane kalanidhi Kshitijah saptamasthane sahamatra vipadyate. Karmasthane sthitah saurih, which means
10th house being fixed.
Sauri means Surya's sun. Yeah. So Sauri is Saturn. So Karmasthane Siddha Sauri, which means 10th house Saturn. Saturn in the 10th house. Shatrusthane Kalanidhi. What does it mean? Who is Kalanidhi? Who has this Kalas basically? Moon. Chandra Kala. So Moon has the Kalas, different Kalas. So Kalanidhi means the treasure of Kalas, Moon. And he is in Satrusthana, which means the 6th house. So Saturn in the 10th house, Moon in the 6th house. Kshitijah Saptamasthane, and Mars in the 7th house. Mars is in the 7th house. Then Sahamatra Vipadyate. Along with the mother, he passed away. Or Vipajyate doesn't necessarily mean pass away. It means gets in trouble. Gets in trouble along with the mother. So it's a troublesome combination for both mother and baby. Moon in 6th, Mars in 7th, Saturn in 10th. It's not a very common combination. What is the probability of it? Approximately 1 over 12 cube. Each has 1 over 12 probability approximately. And these are relatively independent events. So 1 over 12 cube, which is 1 over 144 times 12. So approximately 1 over 16,000 or something like that. So it's a very, very rare event. 1 in 16,000 people have this combination. So it's not likely that in the next month or 2 months you will get a chart with this combination. But it's good to know.
So this will be seen in a Rashi chart?
Yeah. He did not mention where. So we conclude that these are all very basic combinations that you should see in the Rashi chart. And why is it so bad? Moon in the 6th, Saturn in the 10th, Mars in the 4th,
7.
Mars in the 7th. First of all, Mars and Saturn are aspecting each other by Graha Drishti. Mars is aspecting Saturn with the 4th aspect, Saturn is aspecting Mars with the 10th aspect. So there is a lot of tension between Mars and Saturn. And secondly, if you see the houses from Moon, the second house of sustenance from Moon is being afflicted, and apart from it, basically the 5th house of Purvapunya of Mother basically is being afflicted. And also, if you look from Lagna, the 4th house is aspected by Saturn. So 7th aspect, and of course Saturn, the normal longevity significator, is in the 7th house of death from the mother's house. So based on all these combinations, perhaps it is not auspicious for the mother.
But the child himself is because of Mars in 7.
That is definitely a bad combination. Mars in 7 being aspected by Saturn. It's not good. Mars is Manakaraka Sthana. In general, Mars is the significator for killing, for an unhappy end, basically, a very premature end or a violent end. For that, Mars is the significator. And if he is in the 7th house of death, aspected by Saturn, aspected by another male figure, it's not so auspicious. So it's not auspicious for either mother or son or daughter. The next combination is Lagne Bhaskara Putrascha Nidhane Chandrama Yadi Trutiyastho Yadajiva Sayati Yamamandiram. Okay, so what is it saying? Lagne Bhaskara Putrascha. Who is Bhaskara Putra? Saturn. Saturn in Lagna. Nidhane Chandrama Yadi. What is the Nidhana Sthana? 8th house. Nidhanam is 8th house. Death. Yeah. Longevity and death are from the 8th house. So, if Moon is in the 8th house, Saturn is in Lagna, and Trutiyastho Yada Jivaha, which means in the third is if Jupiter is in the 3rd house. So 3 planets in Manakaraka Sthana, Saturn in Lagna, Moon in the 8th house, Jupiter in 3rd house. Sayati Yamamandiram. He goes to the palace of Yama, the god of death. So again, that he is saying this is a combination of death. Next combination. Horayam Nome Surya Saptamastha Sanaishchara Ekadase Guru Shukro Masam Ekam Sajivati. Now he is talking about the Hora chart. So far he talked about Rashi chart. Now he says Horayam. Horayam means in the Hora chart. What Hora is he talking about? D2, of course. But what Hora? Kashinath Hora or some other Hora is not obvious. And my honest guess is it's not Kashinath Hora. It's some other Hora. There is a variation of Hora. Why are you laughing? There is a variation of Hora that is seen for longevity. So it is given in Jahora. but we will not really go there. There is a specific chart that is seen for longevity. So it is probably that Hora chart is talking about. Horayam no me Surya saptamastha sanaishchara. If Sun is in the 9th house in Hora chart and Saturn in the 7th house, Ekadase Guru Shukro Masam Ekam Sajivati, and the 11th house Harasthana has Jupiter and Venus. So Jupiter and Venus in the 11th house, Saturn in the 7th house, Sun in the 9th house. Then Masam Ekam Sajivati. Longevity is limited to a month. Again, I am not sure exactly why this is so, but obviously one thing I can say is the way you reckon the Hora chart and houses, the meanings of those is different from the Rashi chart. Looking at this combination, that's what you can conclude. Because Jupiter and Venus in the 11th, you won't really expect it to be problematic. But obviously in the chart of death, the chart that is specifically shows death, Harasthana having these two benefics who give plentifully is considered to be inauspicious. So obviously there is some difference in the way you interpret Hora chart compared to the Rashi chart. And second principle is, some people just hang on to a Hora chart where all the planets occupy Cancer and Leo. Because Parasara said Surya Hora and Chandra Hora, he did not mention any signs. So they interpret Surya Hora and Chandra Hora to mean Leo and Cancer, and they think that is the right Hora chart. Obviously, for this verse to be right, that can't be the case, because you can't have Sun in the 9th house, Saturn in the 7th house, Jupiter in the 11th house, Venus in the 11th house, if all the planets are going to be in Cancer and Leo, including Lagna. Then all the planets will be either in the 1st house or 2nd house or 12th house. Right? So obviously he is talking about a Hora chart where planets can occupy all the signs, not just Cancer and Leo. Something akin to Kashinath Hora. Now, next combination. Is it again relating to the Hora chart or Rashi chart? We are not clear. My guess is, just because he says Hora in one verse doesn't mean all the remaining verses are going to be about the Hora chart. He just mentioned in the Hora chart, by the way, this is the combination. It is very likely that the next combination is for the Rashi chart. Okay. Vyaye sarve graha nestah Surya Shukrendurahavah Visheshannasakartaro Drushtya va bhangakarinah. Okay. So this is a tricky verse. Let's see how he translated. All planets, any planet in the 12th will be source of short life, specifically the luminaries Venus and Rahu. But the aspect of one of these 4 planets on the 12th will counteract such events. Okay, that is Santanam's translation. Let me make my attempt. Vyaye sarve graha neshtaha. Okay. So what he is saying is, in Jaya, in the house of losses, 12th house, sarve graha, all the planets, neshtaha means, one interpretation you can give is all the planets being in the 12th house, problem. But it is very rare, very unlikely. The other interpretation you can give is Vyaye sarve graha neshtaha. Neshtaha means na ishtaha. Ishtaha means well doing. Neshtaha means not well doing. From what point of view? From money point of view or happiness? No. This is the chapter on Arishta. So from Arishta chapter point of view, all the planets are actually inauspicious in the 12th house. So he seems to say, I won't list a particular planet like Jupiter, Venus, Mars, Saturn. Any planet in the 12th house is inauspicious. Ye sarve graha neshtaha Surya Shukrendu Rahavah Visheshan Nasakartaro. And particularly destructive are Surya Shukra Indu Rahavaha. Who are those? Surya, Sun, Shukra, Venus, Hindu, Moon, Rahu. Rahu is Rahu. So these 4 planets, Venus and Rahu, luminaries. These 4 planets are particularly inauspicious, but all planets are inauspicious in the 12th house. Drushtya va bhangakarinah, which means Drushtya means even by aspect. Bhangakarinah means they cause bhangam. Bhangam means some break. So he is not necessarily talking about longevity here, but either some health problems or some problem, basically. Some big problem is possible. It can be given by any planet which occupies or aspects the 12th house. So he seems to say that aspect or occupancy of the 12th house is in general inauspicious. Particularly if you have Sun, Moon, Venus and Rahu having something to do with the 12th house, you can expect some problems in their dashas. So that seems to be the guideline here.
Are you saying, if I understand it, is any one of these 4 planets in 12th house or aspecting 12th house
Yes.
can give a problem?
Yes.
It's not.
But the thing is, if it is just one planet, the degree will be lower. Suppose Sun is in 12th house, just alone, the degree will be lower, but there will be some problem given by Sun. It's not.
It's a common thing, right? Any one of the 4 being in 12th is possibility very.
That is what he is saying. Any planet in the 12th house gives some kind of problem, some kind of loss it gives. But he is saying these 4 planets are particularly bad compared to Moon in 12th, for example. Sun in 12th is worse.
Maybe in
Yeah.
I have moon in 12th.
You have Moon in 12th? Yeah, you have Dhanu Lagna, right?
Moon in 12th.
Yeah.
In
Okay. Where is Rahu?
9th house. Sun.
9th house is Sun. And what about Venus?
Venus is in.
Venus is aspecting Moon. So, 2 of these planets basically, Venus and Moon, have to do with the 12th house. Moon is in 12th and Venus is aspecting. So, the thing is, during Venus and Moon periods, any dasha, Venus Antardasha, Moon Prachantardasha, or Moon Antardasha, Venus Prachantardasha, you can expect some loss basically. That is what you can take away from this particular verse.
That is Venus or Moon. You can take Dasha, Pratyatardasha, Andhra.
Venus and Moon are basically the planets who can cause some kind of bhanga here in this chart, some kind of evil. And particularly because both of them have to do with the 12th house, I will say when both of them get together, Venus Dasha, Moon Antardasha, or maybe Venus Antardasha, Moon Prachantardasha, or Venus Antardasha, Moon Prachantardasha. When Moon and Venus combination comes together, you can expect some problem. Okay. Okay. So it's not so auspicious. He does not specifically say what, but he seems to say some kind of loss, some kind of suffering, some kind of tension.
Venus Mahadasha.
Oh, good. Which other dasha is he in?
Is in Saturn.
Okay.
But in her case, even though the moon is exalted, it doesn't.
He is not giving any
Conditions
here. So this is a generic thing. Especially only one planet out of those being in the 12th, you can ignore. But if 2 of them are together, 2 of the 4 planets he specifically mentioned are together in the 12th house, you can expect some, or aspecting, or one occupying and one aspecting. You can expect some problem.
Rahu moon. So the combination works on the
You have Rahu in 12th and? I see.
Rahu or Rahu moon.
And Saturn.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the next verse is Papanvitah shashi dharme jona lagna gato yadi shubhai avekshita yutastada. Something is fishy. Mrityu pradashishoh. I have to, one second. What is it translated as? If the moon is capable of causing early end, if she is with a malefic in the 8th, 7th or ascendant and unrelated to a benefic. Papanvitah shashi dharme jona lagna gato piva. Okay. Gato yadi. Shubhair avekshita. Oh, it's not avekshita, it's avikshita. Shubhair avekshita. My copy says Shubhair avekshita. Avekshita yutastada. It should be Shubhair avikshita yutastada. Instead of way, it should be V. Which means, Shubhai means by benefics, avikshita means not aspected, unaspected, yutastada. And he is not conjoined. So if no benefics conjoin or aspect moon, and moon is in the 7th house or 8th house or lagna, then, if he is in the 7th house, 8th house or 9th house, dharme jona lagna gatopiva. Why does he say 8th, 7th or ascendant? The verse says actually 9th, 7th and 1st house. So if moon is in the 9th house, 7th house or 1st house, and
no benefic aspect.
without any benefic aspect or conjunction, then he can cause death. Why is this? Okay, it's recording.
Seventh is why is one from first house and ninth house?
For me, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I can't explain it.
Moon in Lagna.
Yeah, I can't explain this.
Moon in Lagna 7th or 9th with malefic.
Without any benefic reinforcement. So, if there are no benefic influences on moon, he causes problems in these houses. I can't explain it. The next verse is Sanjhayam Chandra Horayam Gandante Nithnaya Vai Prachekam Chandra Papaischa Kendra Gaisyad Vinashanam. Okay. Sanjhayam. What is Sanjha? Yes. Either in the morning or evening. Sanjha is both actually, not just evening. Yeah. Morning, basically around a few ghatis before, around let's say 48 minutes before and after or you can say 24 minutes. If you want to be more relaxed, you can say 48 minutes before and after the sunrise. So that period is called Sanjha. So you approximately take an hour or a couple of hours around the sunrise time, that is Sanjha. So that in the morning or in the evening. And Chandrahorayam. Chandrahora means Hora of Chandra. And Gandante and Gandanta. So he is saying it should be Sanjha, it should be Chandrahora, Moon's Hora, and it should be Gandanta. Gandanta of what? He doesn't specify. Probably Lagna Gandanta. If Lagna is in a Gandanta and Moon's Hora is running right now, then Nidhanayavai, that causes death. Prachekam Chandrapapaischa Kendragaisyad Vinashanam. That is not all. There is further condition. Prachekam Chandrapapaischa. Prachekam means especially Chandrapapaischa Kendragaihi Syad Vinashanam. If moon Chandrapapaischa, if moon and some malefics are in quadrants. So let me give all the conditions again. If moon and some malefics are in quadrants and moon's hora is running and moon is not, and this is a Sanjha time and this is Gandanta, then it causes death. This is a problematic birth. It's a rare condition. The next verse is Ravestu Mandaladhastad Sayam Sanjha Trinadika. Ravestu Mandaladhastad Mandaladhastad Ravestu Mandaladhastad Sayam Sanjha Trinadika. Tathaivaardhodayat purvam pratas sanjhati nadika. Okay, earlier he said Sanjha, now he is defining Sanjha. So whatever I said about Sanjha, ignore it. He is being very precise about the definition of Sanjha here. Ravestu mandalardhat sayam sanjhat nadika. Tathaivaardhodayat purvam pratas sanjhati nadika. So what it means is, when half of sun is visible, or it doesn't actually say visible, from the half of sun, from the fall of half of sun, from that point of view, Sayam Sanjha Trinadika. 3 ghatikas. What is a ghati? Ghati is approximately 24 minutes. So 3 ghatikas means 72 minutes. So 72 minutes after half of sun sets. That is Sayam Sanjha. And similarly, Prata Sanjha is 3 ghatikas before half of sun rises. So he is actually mentioning, with respect to the definition of Sanjha, the rise and fall of sun. The rise and set of sun are defined with respect to the middle of the sun here, Mandala Ardha. And he does not specifically say visibility or the actual longitude. So my take is, you take halfway in the solar disk. Basically, the middle of the sun, the center of the sun. That is what is to be used for sunrise and sunset. That is my long-standing stand. I and Sanjay ji have a disagreement relating to sunrise, the definition of sunrise and sunset. Especially sunrise is important because it is important in reckoning the Hora, and it's important in reckoning the Ghatika Lagnas, Hora Lagna, all these Lagnas. So sunrise is a very important event in astrology. Even though for civil purposes, the visibility of the sun's upper point you may consider to be sunrise, so that you can look at sun, you can pray to sun, you can do your morning rituals, etc. But for astrological purposes, my stand is the middle of sun is the most important point, not the top or the bottom.
Middle of sun at the horizon.
Yeah, at the horizon. But my take is not even sun's middle of the sun's half being visible in the eastern horizon. It's basically based on the actual longitude, based on the actual coordinates. Sun and Lagna being together. That's basically my definition. So sun and Lagna, when they are together, that's when sun rises.
At the same degree.
Yeah, same degree, same minute, same second. Similarly, when moon is at the same longitude as Lagna, that's when moon rises. When Jupiter is at the same longitude as Lagna, that's when he is rising. So that is my definition of rise. So here, take that definition of sunrise and sunset. From that definition of sunrise, go 72 minutes before, or from that definition of sunset, go 72 minutes after. Those are the sandhyas. So, but during those periods is the problematic one.
It is 0 to 72 minutes or at 72 minutes? Is it a small window around 72 minutes or it is sunrise to...
It is 72, no, it is before sunrise. After sunrises there is sun. It's no longer sandhya.
No.
Yeah.
Is it before sunrise up to 72 minutes? That means minus 72 to...
Yeah, 0. Right.
So is that entire window of 72 minutes? Or
Entire window.
Okay.
That is what. Earlier I was saying before and after sunrise. That was silly, whatever I was saying earlier. Because once sun rises, you have light. You have sun's light. So it is no longer sandhya. Sandhya is basically before sunrise or after sunset.
No, what you said before was instead of 72 minutes, we were only taking 48 minutes. But you didn't say 48 minutes after.
No, I think I misspoke. I remember saying before and after. Before and after sunrise and sunset. That was not accurate basically.
But what I
That can
mean
be
is before sunrise or after sunrise?
right, exactly. That is the thing. And if you want to be more strict, basically you can restrict the period to 48 minutes or 24 minutes. But Parasara's guideline is 3 ghatikas.
So what is the inauspiciousness in this case?
That
We get to you said that already, right? This is a new condition. We only explain Indiana.
yeah. Of course, if you don't consider death to be inauspicious, then there is nothing inauspicious about that. But if you consider death to be an inauspicious event, then
Maybe it is not because we get the moksha right away.
may not. Chakrapurvaparaddheshu krura saumyeshu kitabhe lagnage nidhanam jati natra karya vicharana. Okay. Chakrapurvaparaddheshu krura saumyeshu kitabhe lagnage nidhanam jati natra karya vicharana. How does Santanam consider it? Should all the malefics be in the oriental half while benefics be in the occidental half? Early death of one born in Scorpio will follow. In this case, there is no need for any rethinking. Okay, fine. So he is saying Chakrava Purva Apara Ardheshu. Chakra means cycle. What is the cycle here? The zodiacal cycle. So in the zodiac, Chakra Purva Apara Ardheshu. The eastern half and the western half. So he doesn't define exactly how to reckon them. So he is saying the eastern, he translates as occidental, oriental half and occidental half. Basically, the eastern half, eastern semicircle and the western semicircle of the zodiac. In that, Purva Apara Ardheshu, Krura Saumyeshu Ketabhe. Krura Saumyeshu means malefic planets and benefic planets. So what he is saying is, if the eastern half of the zodiac has all the malefic planets and the western half has all the benefic planets, and Ketabhe means the lagna is either lagna or moon sign, it doesn't specify, born in Scorpio sign. Does it refer to moon or lagna? It doesn't specify. Probably lagna, but you could also take moon, try moon. Lagna ge nidhanam yat, he specifically says lagna. Ketabhe lagna ge. So lagna falls into Scorpio sign. Then nidhanam yati, natra karya vichana. You don't have to analyze this further. Then there is death. So lagna is Scorpio, and what is the eastern half? Basically 180 degrees of the zodiac. Around the lagna is eastern half.
Which 180 degrees?
Minus 90 plus 90. If Scorpio, let's say middle of Scorpio is rising, 15 degrees Scorpio, then take from Leo to Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, and then what is you have to take 90 degrees before this point in Leo. So Leo, middle of Leo to middle of Aquarius. So that is assuming that middle of Scorpio is rising, then middle of Leo to middle of Aquarius is the eastern half. Okay. Similarly, let's say 2 degrees Scorpio rises, then 2 degrees Leo to 2 degrees Aquarius is the eastern half, and the other 180 degrees is western half. So the rule is, if all the malefic planets are in the eastern half, basically surrounding lagna and the neighboring signs, they contain all the malefic planets, and the 7th house and the surrounding signs, they contain all the benefic planets, and the lagna is Scorpio, then there will be death of the person. So that is an inauspicious combination. The next combination, we will end with this combination, 16 combinations, and we will continue in the next class. There are 45 overall. Vyayasatrugatai krurai mruchu dravya gatairapi. Mruchu dravya gatairapi, okay. Dravya. Vyayasatrugatai krurai mruchu dravya gatairapi. Papa madhyagate lagne satyameva mritim vadet. Okay. Vyaya shatru gatai krurai means, Vyaya means 12th. Shatru means 6th. Vyaya shatru gatai krurai. If malefics are in 12th or 6th, mrityu dravya gatai rapi. Or mrityu means 8th house, dravya means money. What is the house of money? Second house. So if the 12th house, 6th house, 8th house and 2nd house, if they contain malefics, Papa madhyagate lagne satyameva mritim vadet, and Papa madhyagate lagne means in the middle of Papa grahas is lagna. That means lagna is hemmed by malefics, Papakartar yoga. So there is Papakartar yoga on lagna, and there are malefics in 6th, 12th, 8th or 2nd. Then there is a that combination basically causes death. So this is another combination for early death of the baby. So if you see Papakartari and Lagna, and if you see malefic, probably one malefic is not enough. Probably out of 6th, 8th, 12th and 2nd, if a couple of houses have malefics and Papakartari and Lagna, you should be concerned. Okay. With that, we will end the discussion on Parasara for today. We will continue in the next class.
Only one question.
Yes.
When you said all these combinations,
Yeah.
we only are looking at premature death in X number of years, wherever, which is not very specific.
Sometimes specific, like a fortnight, month, like that he is specific.
Right. There is nothing that can be propitiated, there is nothing that can be done.
He is not giving any propitiation here.
Then what is this identification or judgment useful for? Just to tell the parent that this is what it's very...
Well, the thing is, even though he doesn't specifically say any remedy, he has given lot of remedies later on, which we have already done. And you can basically use those as a reference and come up with some remedy.
Maybe
those are just guidelines. So just do Mrityunjaya Home, or you can suggest Mrityunjaya Home. If you see that there is a short life for the baby, just suggest Mrityunjaya Home. For example, if the combination says within fortnight, Don't wait till 1 year or several months of age. Just do it immediately. As soon as the baby is born, within on the 11th day, do the, or maybe even before the Sotaka is gone, maybe you can do. Or if it's not 1 fortnight, but if the longevity is like a month or 1 year,
11 days.
then after 11 days or after 21 days, just do the Mrityunjaya Homa. So you should strongly suggest. In general, if you see some problem, you should suggest. But if you see one of these Balarishtas, which mean death during infancy, if you see one of these combinations, you should very, very strongly recommend Mahamrityunjaya Homam for the baby. Okay.
I have a question on, not in this directly, but this one.
Yeah, let's restart. Okay, go ahead.
There is somewhere I read about if the nakshatras matches, like a son, father and a son, or a child and parent.
Yeah,
So there is an inauspicious star.
yeah,
That is also a combination
right.
creates that.
Yeah, we covered it already. We covered it.
So is this those nakshatras has to be the same, or the same group it has to fall in? That's my question.
Not group, same.
Same.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Oh, okay. I was saying we already covered. You were talking about something that we covered earlier. You were asking a question from a previous class. Right.
Just a doubt I have.
Yeah, in that particular dosha, it has to be the same nakshatra.
Same nakshatra.
But doesn't have to be same navamsa.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be what?
So if I divide the nakshatras by nine times.
So Punarvasu is, let's say father is Punarvasu, son is Purvabhadra.
Right, like that.
It's not then there is no dosham.
Okay.
If both of them are Punarvasu, then there is a dosham.
My question is one is the Purvabhadra, other one is the.
No, then there is no problem.
They're apart anyway.
Yeah.
Apart.
Yeah. Right. Similarly, some nakshatras fall in two different signs. For example, Punarvasu falls in Gemini as well as Cancer.
Depends on father.
So, suppose somebody is born in Punarvasu in Mithuna and the son is born in Punarvasu in Karka. Is the dosha still there? It's not really clarified by Parasara. But my guess is, if the Rashi is different, then there is no dosha. That is my take. So, it is not just nakshatra, but Rashi also has to be same. But probably not the Navamsa.
We are looking at all this only in Rasi, right?
Yeah. Any other questions?
Usually you get questions because we have daily conference on Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's working fine.
Very good.
So we looked 3 charts
Mhm.
yesterday. The
Good.
question is like Mahadasha.
Yeah.
When we are looking at Mahadasha of a particular planet
Mm-hmm.
and
You were thinking always about exchange.
Parivartana.
Not Parivartan also.
Mm.
It is basically exchange of results by 2 planets or whatever
Mhm.
the order.
Oh yeah.
It
Mhm.
is only applicable when we are looking at the short periods of Antardasha or Mahadasha of
Whole
10 years,
Mahadasha
15
applies
years.
that.
It applies to Mahadasha as well. Except that it may not start as soon as the Mahadasha commences. It may wait till an Antardasha, proper Antardasha comes to be triggered. But it applies to Mahadashas as well.
See, for example, Mars and different Mercury. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the whole like it is 17 years. So that means Mars will behave like Mercury.
Yes, that is 90% that is possible.
But what happens inside that, within that, inside that period, the Antardasha period, when it comes, does it reverse the role again? Or?
No. What I was saying is, when the Mercury Dasha started, Mercury may be giving his own results. But when Mars Antardasha comes, or at least Mars Pratyantardasha in one of the Antardashas comes, that's when the Parivartana of the results, because they are together, will be triggered. And from then onwards, Mercury Dasha will continue to give Mars results.
So it is tough to analyze.
It's tough to analyze, yes.
Up to what point whether
Yes.
we should take this or this.
Right. It's tough. So you can match both the results.
You can say both of them.
Right. But if you say, for example, Mercury Mars is already over, it's very likely that from then onwards, definitely it will be Mars result only.
Mercury, Mars, and
Mercury Dasha, Mars Antardasha. In the worst case, basically, if it's not triggered already, In the worst case, it will be triggered when the Antardasha of the planet, which is exchanging the results, comes. So that will definitely trigger if it's not already triggered.
So one extrapolation of this is Mahadasha onwards. If you take Mars Mahadasha and any one of the Antardashas, you are going to get Pratyantardasha of Mercury, say.
Yeah.
So that may not be the combination. It has to be Mars Mercury or Mars Mercury Mars.
Doesn't have to be. Are you talking about Mars Dasha or Mercury Dasha?
Say example.
Mars is the Mahadasha.
Okay, Mars Mahadasha. Now the thing is, when Mars Mercury comes, first Mars Rahu, Mars Jupiter, Mars Saturn, then Mars Mercury comes. Then definitely it will be triggered. But even earlier, if somebody has to, some other planet has to do with this combination, aspecting or dispositor, which sign are they in? Suppose they are in Jupiter sign, suppose hypothetically. Then even Mars Jupiter Mercury may trigger it. So, or let's say Mars Mercury also can trigger it. Or let's say Rahu is aspecting them, Mars Rahu Mercury may trigger it. So it's tough to really exactly time when it will be triggered. But once it's triggered, Mars will behave as though he is Mercury.
So why this Parivartana can hold the Dashas and behaviors?
Well, if I and you are together, I may not start behaving like you immediately. In the beginning, I am me, you are you. But after a while, when I start learning from you, when I start picking up your traits, once I start behaving like you, from then onwards, I am basically you. I am not me.
Which is practically true also.
Right. Once you pick up, it will be difficult to let it go. But how long will it take to pick it up? Depends. It's not really, there's not surefire formula. If we are both living in the same house, you don't necessarily become like me on day 1. You may become like me on day 100. And if he is with me, he may become like me on day 1000. It depends. Good way to think. Yes. If the relation is uncomfortable, like Moon and Rahu, they may never become like each other. If Moon and Rahu are together, Moon will give Moon result, Rahu will give Rahu result. Very unlikely that they will exchange results. Same with Jupiter Rahu. So we covered several exceptions. So obviously, even though I did not mention it specifically, the unsaid message in that is, if they are good friends, the exchange of results is probably happening earlier. If they have an uncomfortable relationship, it may not happen, or if it happens, it may happen late. Okay.
A practical example of that is I used to have a friend earlier for over 5 or 6 years when we were working together. After about a couple of years, it was like two bodies of one entity. The two people here, but it's one entity. Both proxy for each other. But
they won't go with agenda, right? Suppose one, even though they are friends, both have different agenda. One is sixth.
Yeah.
So they won't go with that, their personal agenda.
The thing is, if I start thinking like you, some of your agenda will be imbibed into my brain. So I will be pushing that agenda. Suppose I am a spiritual person and you are not a spiritual person. So my agenda is to do more pujas, more religious activities. And then you start living with me in my house. You may start doing pujas. Your agenda may be something else, but you may forget it. You may pick up my agenda. So it's like that.
If there is a Parvatana, let's say Mercury and Venus,
Yeah.
during the Mahadasha is Saturn, but
Yeah.
Antardasha is like, if it's Mercury,
Yeah.
you will get the effect of Venus Antardasha.
Ah.
Is that what I am?
That is possible.
Okay.
So his original question was, at the Antardasha level there is an exchange of results.
Yes.
But is there an exchange of results even at the Mahadasha level? Because that is much longer. That was his question. So my answer is yes. So both what you asked is also right. But that is less significant because it's only you are talking about 2 years or 3 years or 1 year. What he is talking about is 17 years, 10 years, that kind of period. And even in that kind of period, there can be exchange of results.
And the second question is Narayan Dasha 3-part rule.
Yeah.
One part is given to the Rashi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When we are looking at Rashi, there are say 4 years period is there.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the we had three. We listed 3 things in that. What to see in our notes actually.
Mm-hmm.
One is
One is sign is sattvic, rajasic or tamasic. And then we check whether the house, what house this sign is from Lagna, and check the sign aspects. So these are the 3 points that we thought
To see the results of the sign itself.
of the sign itself.
Yeah.
So the question, the third point we are not clear. What is aspects of that sign means the sign aspect to other houses or
Sign aspects on that sign.
That means Leo.
Because if you are talking about Grahadrashti, planets aspecting that sign. By Rajadrashti, but still planets aspecting. Jupiter is aspecting that sign. Venus is aspecting that sign. Those results are given in another 1/3, right?
right? Yes.
So those are not included here. What I mean by aspects is, suppose you are talking about Leo Dasha. Leo is aspected by Libra. So some of Libra's results must also be given.
When you say Libra's results, we are not talking about occupants of Libra or not.
No, we are not talking about occupants of Libra. Just Libra.
So Leo is contributing Libra's agenda.
Yeah. Some of Libra's agenda will be pushed during Leo Dasha.
So not other.
Marginally.
Not other.
Otherwise also fine. Leo Dasha will also, Leo will push its results in Libra Dasha also. It's basically give and take.
But if it is Leo Dasha running at that time,
Yeah.
it will be Aquarius or...
Yeah, not Aquarius.
the
Capricorn,
or the Sign
Aries and Libra. They can give their results.
And also
to
there is
some
another
extent.
point that do Argalas count here? Like for example, will there be a fourth sign Argala of Scorpio affecting this
Yes.
also?
Yes, also. But the thing is, most important is which house this sign is, because all those are slight modifiers. The key thing is what house is it from Lagna, what house is it from Moon, what house is it from Jupiter, what house is it from various references, Ghati Lagna, Hora Lagna, and what house is it from Arudha Lagna. So this is the most important thing.
Okay.
And what is the nature of the sign? Is it a tamasic sign? Is it a sattvic sign? Is it a fiery sign? Is it a vati sign? Is it a productive sign? Is it a dry sign? Is it a malefic, inauspicious sign like Scorpio, or is it a very positive sign like Pisces, Cancer? So the nature of the sign is also important.
What does the nature of the sign have to do with what result he is giving? Basically, it will,
Whatever the result you know from the houses, the result will be the positive or negative aspects of the result will be accentuated. If it's a Cancer, it's a sign of creation. So all the creative, positive traits will be magnified. If it's Scorpio, it's a very evil sign. So all the negative traits will be magnified. So that is the thing.
so this we are not subdividing anything. So all the 4 years.
This is not subdividing. This is
all the 4
basically,
years will be that politics.
yes, we don't know how to subdivide. There must be some way, but we don't know. Any other questions?
Right. In the Palana Devata,
Yeah,
in the Navamsha
yeah.
chart, we see Amatya Karaka, then from there we see the 6th house to find the Palana Devata.
Yeah.
And then suppose while looking at the Gemini has got this Amatya Karaka.
Gemini has what? Amatya Karaka, okay.
Okay. So Gemini
In Navamsha.
In Navamsha.
Okay.
So 6th house is Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 6th has got 2 lots now.
Okay.
Mars and Mercury.
Okay.
Mars and Ketu.
Ketu.
Okay, Mars is with Rahu,
Mhm.
and Ketu is alone. So whom we should take? I mean, by number of planets wise, Mars is strong or Ketu is alone, that is being strong.
You can take either. But if you ask me, take the stronger one.
Here stronger, that's the question is how to find. Like Rahu and Mars, they are enemies, so they are, even though they are number 2, count by 2, whether we should go just by count or
The degrees, right?
I think you should just go by the count.
Just go by the count. That's my guide, my suggestion. Just go by the count. But even if
we will count friends or enemies there. There
Yeah.
are 2 people, 2 people.
we are judging the strength of two lots of a sign, there the relationships don't matter. If Mars is with planets, whoever, irrespective of who they are, if Mars is with planets and Ketu is alone, Mars is the lord of Scorpio, not Ketu in that case. That is what Parasara teaches specifically, and that is what Jaimini teaches. So that's what we will do. But the thing is, should you only suggest the stronger one? Can't you suggest the weaker one? Well, you can. It will also lead to the right path only finally.
because Rahu Mars can give Skanda and Ketu can give
Ganesha.
Paramdevata Ganesha.
Yeah. But my suggestion is, in this case, Mars is the better one.
That Mars Rahu combination is Kanda, right? Kartikeya.
Yes, Kartikeya.
So,
You could also suggest, there is one theory that Paradevata should be a female deity,
right.
should be a Shakti form basically, because mother is the one who feeds you. That is the logic. The thing is, of course, Subramanya can also feed you if you really pray to him. So, all those things, all those classifications are useful to some extent, but after a level, basically they are useless. So, to say that only Vishnu Avatara can be Ishtadevata, only Shiva Avatara can be this, only Shakti can be this, already basically pushing the, basically going to the extreme. So, you can definitely, in this particular case, you can definitely suggest Subramanya. Worship of Subramanya will ensure that the person always has food, always has resources, and always is busy.
And last one is something.
We looked at a house robbery,
House robbery actually.
and you can open the chart. It's there.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
house
couldn't
robbery.
figure out.
I think that's the chart. It's there. It's already open.
Okay. How is it already open?
I opened it before you came.
Oh, I see.
The question here was, will they be able to recover the thing? This actually happened in.
You don't save any notes. If you are checking this chart 5 years later, suppose you are writing a book after 5 years, you want examples. You know that these guys had house robbery. You won't know when. Why don't you just create a notes?
Ladman.
Yeah.
This is August 2nd. That happened on August 2nd.
August 2nd.
August 2nd, 2006.
When?
House robbery on August 2nd, 2006.
Were valuables lost?
All gold in the house lost.
There was a lot of gold in the house.
Yeah.
Indian family.
Indian family. And in fact, this is a thing that in this area there are a lot of families that have robbed in the recent last 2-3 months.
Oh.
In Windham there have been 5 houses.
In Billarica also.
In Billarica and in Chinese family in Boston. Last 2 weeks back.
They come with the metal detectors
And then somewhere in Andover.
They come with what?
metal detectors,
Uh-huh.
and then they find gold.
And they don't take silver. The silver was next to that in this case, but they don't touch silver, it's only gold. Gold and
Yes, of course, more valuable.
it's laptops and gold, 2 things.
They lost laptops also.
Yeah. And this is not only here, it's also in New Jersey and California. This is some nationwide thing going on.
Ah.
In Billarica.
Yeah, Billarica, I heard that. They now tell you not to lock the cars. They come in and take everything from the car now. They leave your car unlocked.
So here in this case, I couldn't really.
Okay.
In August 2nd, there was a possibility things could happen. We could feel that. But the more interesting was, will they be able to recover?
1 second. This is a very profound statement. August 2nd, you could feel that some things could happen.
No, but the thing, what the statement means is, if they came to me before August 2nd, I wouldn't have possibly predicted saying there is going to be a loss of robbery. I couldn't have possibly.
Loss of robbery, okay.
I could not have said it.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Okay. Let us just check the Tithi Pravesh chart. Because
We know the picture.
if you look at the year, this is a big event. During this whole year, one of the key events, losing so much gold. So, let us see, who is the ruler of the year? Just for sake of discipline, we will check. Who's what happened?
The house is unlocked or something? Or
No, it is locked.
Dark later.
Locked. They opened it. It's Mars.
See, those who steal gold, they can open the locks. They didn't have any security system.
They did not. Now they do.
Now they do. Now too late. Now probably everybody in the neighborhood has. All the other Indian families in the neighborhood probably got.
most of the time we leave the house, we don't lock the house key.
You don't?
No issue.
Hopefully none of the robbers are listening to this audio. And in case you are listening, I won't tell you the name of the gentleman who made the statement. It's a suspense. You better lock your door. Actually, I lived in South Korea for 10 months. You will be shocked to find that they hardly lock the doors there. My company gave me an apartment. They gave me furniture. They gave me all the utensils for kitchen. They gave me everything. It was a fully furnished apartment, and I and my wife were living. When they gave me the apartment, I asked them. Not a robber, it's a janitor. So when I went there, when they gave me the apartment, when they showed me, okay, this is where you will be living, I asked them for the key. They said, why? Why do you need a key? So I was shocked, and I found that they don't really need to lock their doors in Korea. The crime is very, very low. I mean, there is some organized mafia kind of crime, but regular daily crime basically is almost non-existent. And even if you have a lot of gold in your house, nobody will really come and search for it and find it. They basically don't have that bend of mind. Basically, it's a Buddhist country, and even though India, being a very religious, a country of great religious background, we have a lot of crime, lot of thieves, robbers in India. Korea is a very nice exception. I know one of my friends, he went for shopping and just sightseeing and shopping, and then he left a camcorder in a very public place, in a park. He left it there and he was walking away. And then one gentleman came running. He was like, you forgot your camera. And then he gave it and then he went away. So it's basically there are places, even in Kali Yuga, there are places in the world where people don't want to take somebody else's property. They realize that it's a sin to do that. Anyway, but the thing is, America is definitely not a country like that. So you should definitely lock your door. Yes, you were saying something.
Mars is the ruler of the year in 8th house. Mars in 8th house and
Mars is the ruler of the year in the 8th house with Saturn. Okay.
And Saturn happens to be, he is the second lord.
Okay.
So there is something suddenly could have happened and
okay. Which dasha gave the result?
August.
Jupiter. Okay. Doesn't make any
do
sense.
you want to go to Hora chart instead?
We'll see. We'll go to the Hora chart. We'll go to the D4 chart, which is properties, fortune, bhagyam. Okay.
Why D4? D4 is house property.
D4 is the house and your properties, basically. The immobile properties.
Considering gold as an immobile property.
Yeah. So we can do that. But let us quickly check the Hora chart, because you are losing some money also. If you are losing gold, your financial resources have come down. So you should be visible in the Hora also. So let us see the Hora chart. How is Hora chart? How is Jupiter in the Hora chart? Does he show any problems, or is he fine?
He is retrograde in Manaka.
But he is the Lagna Lord.
He is Lagna Lord,
But he is retrograde.
but he is retrograde and he is in Manakarta Sthana. Is it auspicious or inauspicious?
Inauspicious. Very inauspicious.
It's not auspicious. And is he involved in any yogas? Like Lagna Lord with the 9th Lord or something like that? Anybody has Grahadrishti on him? Venus, the 8th Lord. The functional malefic Venus is aspecting Jupiter. If the 8th Lord and Lagna Lord are 8th Lord and 10th Lord, Jupiter is Lagna Lord as well as 10th Lord, right? If he is afflicted by a functional malefic, the 3rd and 8th Lord Venus, is it a Raj Yoga or is it a Duryoga? It's a Duryoga, right? If a Kendra Lord or Kona Lord is afflicted by the 8th Lord, it's a Duryoga. So there is a Duryoga given by Jupiter and Venus. So Jupiter, Venus are giving a Duryoga. Okay. Pardon me?
Jupiter represents gold.
Yes. Jupiter represents gold and religious articles, etc. And how is the chart of the properties that you own, the immobile properties you own? This is the chart of Bhagya, your fortune. So the gold that you have can be seen from the Chaturthamsha. So how is Jupiter in this chart? Same combination. And not only, just because the Lagna Lord is weak, afflicted and participates in Duryoga may not be sufficient. See any weakness of Lagna also. How is Lagna? There is a Grahana in Lagna, Moon and Rahu combination in Lagna. So Lagna is afflicted, right? Lagna is afflicted, and Lagna Lord Jupiter is in a Duryoga. He is with the 8th Lord Venus.
And they are affecting.
For me? That's a good point. He is 10th from AL.
And
Right.
the UL is very much there, indicating it.
He is in UL and A11 also, but he is in UL. So there can be some loss. The thing is, he is not only in UL, but he is in the 12th from Yale also. So he is perceived to have lost something, some property, something that he owns, some immobile property he is perceived to have lost. So there is a decent chance.
In these cases, can we know if they will be able to recover anything?
We will come to that. First, let us see this event. So the Antardasha was Jupiter, Rahu, Venus. If you look at the Tithi Pravesh, Tithi Ashtatri Dasha, it happened in Jupiter, Rahu, Venus. Rahu is basically, he is aspecting this combination. He is the 12th lord of loss. Rahu is the 12th lord of loss, afflicting the Lagna and aspecting this combination, Venus-Jupiter combination. Okay? So again, Lagna lord afflicted by 8th lord and also aspected by 12th lord is not good. Duryoga is made even more potent by Rahu. Rahu's aspect on Venus and Jupiter. See, Rahu has Grahadrushti on them, right? So that Grahadrushti makes this yoga even worse. And the fact is, he is afflicting moon in Lagna. So he is giving lot of problems. And in general, if Jupiter Dasha is to give some bad events, when Rahu Antardasha comes, it can happen. Because Jupiter is in general a benefic planet. He wants to do auspicious things. And Rahu in general wants to do inauspicious things. So Jupiter Rahu is a very good candidate. And it happened in Jupiter Rahu Venus.
Because of Rahu is robbery?
Rahu is not necessarily the karaka for robbery. Rahu is cheating, but not necessarily the karaka for robbing.
But who indicates it's a robbery? Suppose somebody came before the event.
Yeah.
Could we predict this kind of event?
No, that's tough. It's tough. But the thing is, if you knew that, it's tough to predict robbery. But you can see, if he asked you something about his house, you could have predicted some problem with respect to house. Because Jupiter is Lagna Lord, afflicted by 8th Lord, 12th Lord, etc. Some problem with the house you could have seen. But robbery is very tough to exactly put your finger on it and say it's a robbery.
Because Rahu is there, we cannot conclude for deceit.
You can say. Rahu and Mars are the karakas for this kind of things. Thieves entering your house and taking away properties. So Rahu and Mars are the karakas. So maybe if you looked carefully, you could have got, but it's tough. It's not really easy to predict. Now, forget all the D4, D2 business. In the Rashi chart, Jupiter is Lagna Lord. He is the Lagna Lord for God's sake. Why did he give a problem? Why did he give a loss? Is he capable of giving a loss?
That was the point we couldn't explain yesterday.
Yes.
Using the 11th.
But the thing is, tell me one thing. We'll come to that. But looking at Hora and more importantly Chaturthamsa, don't you think that there is a very strong case for Jupiter to give a big loss?
There is, but then we have to see.
Now, see in the Rashi. How is Jupiter in the Rashi? Does he give, because he is in the 11th house, do you say that he gives gains? 11th house from Lagna.
But he's retro.
But
Does it
he
make
is
a
in
difference?
4th house.
No.
Retro is not good, but that's not the main problem. Jupiter in the 11th house, does he give gains or not necessarily?
UL and Rahu is in his house.
Yes, Rahu is in his house. Rahu is in his house. And what else? From Arudha, if you are talking about losing some property, losing a house, losing gold, is Lagna the thing or Arudha Lagna? I tell you so many times, Arudha Lagna is the material aspect.
Yeah, but what we covered before is from Arudha Lagna, every planet, the house from Arudha Lagna, we see for seeing what people perceive this to be. But here it's not the people perceiving it, it is the tangible aspect, so it should be the Arudha itself. It's not the house from Arudha Lagna in this case.
No. Arudha Lagna is not just what people mistakenly perceive. Arudha Lagna is what people see.
Arudha Lagna itself, but then the house from Arudha Lagna is what they are seeing for the third house.
House from Arudha Lagna is the characteristics of the image that you are projecting in the world. So, the image he is projecting in the world during this period is that of a loser, that of somebody who lost big, who did not have a security system, who did not take proper precautions, and who put so much gold in the house and who lost so much gold. That is the image he projected during this period.
So from order of the
See, the thing is, Lagna is not, when we say Lagna is the reality, the thing is, Lagna is the potential basically. Lagna is the unmanifested potential and Aruh Lagna is the actual manifestation. So when you are talking about some tangible event, in other words, Lagna is the intangible aspect and Aruh Lagna is the tangible aspect. Now, right? So the event that happened, did it happen to the intangible self of the person or tangible self of the person? It happened to the tangible self. What happened to the tangible self? He lost something. And benefics in the third house, do they give gains or losses? Loss. And also it is the third house is the 12th from 4th. 4th house is the property. 4th house is the property that you own. So when Jupiter is in when a planet is in the 12th from 4th, he can give some kind of loss of the property. And of course, like you said correctly, he is the UL Lord. He is the UL and A6 Lord. So they can be a loss.
Yeah, I was perceiving this to be if somebody lost something or something happened, either gain or a loss, the UL or the Aruda of that house is what is going to show them. But house from Aruda, being the house from Aruda, I thought it is only what people are perceiving, and that itself is by itself not indicating.
Okay.
Yeah.
People are perceiving him to have lost, not successful basically, to be a failure during that time. And he is the Lord of AL and U6, UL and A6. So those are basically sufficient to show some problem. But you cannot predict. Based on this Rashi, you cannot predict. But there is some indication of trouble, some indication of a loss, some indication of material setback. Loss and material setback are possible. Now, if you go to Chaturthamsa and Hora, that is when you can predict more confidently. In both of them, Jupiter is involved in a Duryoga.
But Duryoga doesn't say that it is a loss. It is some
Well, Duryoga is basically some fall in status, some setback,
thing.
some material setback. If you have a Duryoga in Hora, it is a financial setback. If you have a Duryoga in Chaturthamsa, it is a setback relating to the house or other immobile property that you own. Okay. Any other questions?
Want to know if we'll be able to recover
Okay.
what happened.
Can they recover it?
This year seems to be like overall, like Chaturthamsa has got Moon and Rahu, so Lagna is not strong.
No, overall.
Okay,
Lord is
the property, basically Moon and Rahu eclipsing Lagna and the Lagna Lord, basically Lagna and Lagna Lord being beaten down. Wow, Lagna being beaten down by eclipse and also 12th Lord. And
12th actually.
that is also not so good. So all these are showing some problems relating to immobile property during this year. 4th Lord Mercury in the 12th house.
Oh, in the Chaturthamsa.
Now, who can give some recovery? If at all there is a recovery, who can give the recovery? Sun is the 6th Lord in 9th house. It doesn't show any protection. Moon, can Moon give some protection?
He is the 8th Lord.
He is the 5th Lord of Purvapunya.
But he is living in this one.
He is eclipsed. True. So Purvapunya is eclipsed in Lagna.
Would you see D4 for this or from Rasi?
I will say D4. D4 is the key. So Moon, if you see,
Because Moon, why he said Moon? Because Moon in the Rashi is 8th Lord.
he is 8th Lord, fine. He is a neutral planet. But from Arudha Lagna, he is in the 11th house of gains.
Right.
Gain of material objects. Right?
Right.
And he is the Lord of A11.
Right.
He is the Lord of A11. A11 and A5 are together.
No, but he is also 12th Lord in that case.
Oh, fine. He is the 12th Lord. So A11 and A5 are already in the 12th house from AL, but the Lord has gone into the 11th house. So he is any planet, irrespective of what house he owns. You don't see the houses owned from AL. The houses occupied from AL are more important. So Moon, the Lord of A5 and A11. A11 is gain, A5 is some Purvapunya, the tangible manifestation of the Purvapunya. So those are together. And the Lord has gone into the 11th from Arudha Lagna, right? So some gain is possible in Moon period. Now go to the Chaturthamsa, because that is the key chart. Or first go to the Hora. In the Hora, how is Moon? He is the 5th Lord. He is not so good. He is with Ketu. So Financial situation wise, this period doesn't seem so good. But look at Chaturthamsa, the immobile property. How is moon here? He is the fifth lord in Lagna in a friendly sign. Rahu is afflicting him. So he is not at all strong. He is not at all capable of giving his results. But if he can overcome Rahu, fifth lord in Lagna can give some recovery. And also from Arul Lagna, while Jupiter was in the 12th, moon is again in the 11th house. So if at all there is some chance of recovery.
What did you say when Jupiter?
Jupiter, even though it's 12, but
Jupiter is in the 12th from Arul Lagna in the Chaturthamsa chart. But moon is in the 11th house from Chaturthamsa. And he is in Lagna, a fresh start, a new hope basically. So during moon period, there is some chance, it's not a strong chance, some chance of listening about the whereabouts of this money, whereabouts of the gold basically. Some kind of recovery is possible in moon period. And other periods are not so likely. It's
What
only
I suggested is I didn't come from Chaturthamsa but from Rasi itself, not even this, from the natal Rasi itself. I suggested them to appreciate Durga because of moon and Rahu combination.
okay, good suggestion.
In that also.
So if they propitiate Durga during February-March time frame, there is some chance of recovery. Usually once you lose gold, somebody robs your house, you won't get it back. It's very unlikely. And even from astrologically, it's not very encouraging. But there is some chance. If at all there is some chance, let me put it this way. If at all there is some chance, it is during February 8 through March 28.
But there is another reason why
they
I
get
suggested,
Manashanti or something means.
no, the reason I suggested moon was to get peace of mind.
Okay.
Because at least
Good.
if not the gold, you will have a peace of mind. That is another angle to look at, right?
Okay.
If you have a house owner insurance, that will.
No, they don't cover gold unless explicitly.
No.
We have to have a specific line. I know there are so many.
No. Gold is not covered.
Really?
Yeah.
In my, she says getting jewelry and all that, and
She probably has a special.
He's assuming that's why he's unlocking the house.
insurance is
Maybe he put the value as higher, so he wants people to come and rob. That's why he keeps his whole house unlocked.
I have very badly, even the car, I don't lock my car. You're lucky so far.
Man,
I know.
you don't lock your car, you don't lock your home.
Yesterday my car battery was stolen, even though it's locked.
Wow. Now they say in Belvika, only recently we are told, lot of.
Irrespective of where you are,
Yes.
please keep your car locked.
It's not only Belvika.
That doesn't ensure that the car will be safe. But the thing is, if you don't do that, the odds are that your car will be, some part of your car, something will be stolen from your car someday.
Recently, they distributed actually gold in a different rooms, but they went to the each room or different places. They found it. They robbed it. It's only 3 weeks ago.
So they should have metal detector proof metal, some kind of enclosure which is metal detector proof they should make.
No, because in this particular case, the person, they are taking the vault itself.
Mhm.
The fire safe vault. The vault itself, they are taking, which means all the passports and other things have also been lost.
Oh boy.
That's a big thing.
Too bad.
So if you make the metal detector safe things, that itself can go right.
So you want
No, that will go if they detect it. In this case, they detected that there was some gold, so they took.
No,
So-
because if there is something that you see possibly there, but you can't detect it, then the object itself might go into
Okay, anyway.
part.
Yeah. Debating about possible technology.
Okay. So that
Okay, any other points? Any other questions?
we want to look at the chart for the
Any other questions?
Do you have time to look at 9:50?
Yeah, we'll have 10 minutes. Okay, let's see our friend's chart. Our friend who doesn't lock the door.
chart and the station.
Huh?
no, but earlier chart we didn't give the time data actually.
Oh, sorry. The data of the chart of the person who was robbed, the gold was robbed is 1965, June 3rd, 3:05 a.m. The place is Bagalkot, India. The longitude and latitude are 75 degrees 42 minutes east, 16 degrees 7 minutes north.
Actually, before I was
Yeah.
You are saying that the 8th.
His marriage?
So,
Of course, if he has so much gold in the house, he must be married.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, that is a different chart.
Oh, sorry.
Some other chart. Then you were saying that the seventh lord in 8th, something to do with this 8th house. Yeah. So in that case, we said Sheshu Garu was thinking, we were all thinking that there won't be any marriage, right? What was the clause you were talking?
Not necessarily. If seventh lord is in 8, it can show some
Tensions.
tension in the marriage. During marriage or after marriage, some tension in the marital life. Doesn't necessarily show no marriage.
No, 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 it was not 7th lord in 8th.
Yeah? Oh, okay. Oh, it's not conducive to marriage then. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. If the dasha of the 8th house or 8th lord is running, it's not so conducive to marriage.
But it has got Argala and aspect of UL.
Okay, unless we take up the exact details, I can't give comments, but that itself is not conducive. But if there are other conducive factors, it may happen. So we have to analyze.
Because wherever the 8th house or 8th lord is involved, possibly it's not conducive at all. So even if there are small...
It can also show suddenness. The marriage they may not be planning, suddenly the marriage may happen. Such things are also possible in such cases.
That's why I think you may have to give for the audio that what date is robbery occurred in. Not just
Yeah. The robbery occurred on August 2nd, 2006. And all the gold in the house was lost. They put the gold in a vault, safe vault. They took it, and the vault itself they took it. It contained their passports and lot of important documents. So everything was stolen by the robbers. Okay, we will take up quickly. I just want to spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So I'll give a quick prediction to our friend. Okay, your question is about job, right?
Yep.
Finding a job. He wants to know when he will find a job. The data is 1949 June 13, 10:55 a.m. The place is Palayam, Kottai, India. 77 degrees 44 minutes east, 8 degrees 43 minutes north. Probably this is the chart of this is the most frequently visited student chart.
Let's go to directly...
Yeah, we'll just go to the Dashamsha Tithi Pravesh. Yeah. So we'll just go to Tithi Pravesh chart.
The Hora Lord is...
June 14, 2006, 5:50 to 30 a.m. That's the time of Tithi Pravesh chart. The Hora Lord is Venus. So Venus is the king of the year. And how much leeway do we have in the Dashamsha of the annual chart? 3.5 minutes. So we are happy. Let's go to Tithi Ashtotri Dasha. What is the Dasha he is running right now? Rahu. How is Rahu?
Rahu, 6th lord in 5th house.
6th lord in the 5th house.
So, 5th house like recognizing the abilities, and 6th house of service.
Yeah.
Chances.
What about it?
They are underneath with the Lagna lord, Mercury.
First of all, the Lagna and 10th lord Mercury, is he taking part in any Duryoga? Are there any Duryogas here? The 8th lord, the 6th lord, the 3rd lord, all the Dusthana lords. The 3rd lord Ketu, the 6th lord Saturn and Rahu, the 8th lord Mars.
3rd Lord Mars also.
Yeah, 3rd lord Mars, sorry. 3rd lord Mars and Ketu, 6th lord Saturn and Rahu, 8th lord Mars. They are all either with Mercury or aspecting Mercury. So there is a Duryoga on Mercury. There is a Duryoga having to do with Mercury. So it's not so auspicious, right? So Rahu Dasha is the Dasha that actually pulled the trigger on this event. Actually, was it after November 26?
Yeah, December 8th was the
Okay, so he got laid off on December 8th. Okay, Rahu moon.
contract ended.
So his contract ended, okay. So,
I mean, I had a permanent job. I took this contract. They said it would expand. It got renewed, but they didn't renew the contract.
okay. And as far as service is concerned, Rahu is the 6th lord. His agenda is to promote service, but he is in the 12th house from that house. If you take 6th house as Lagna, he is in the 12th from it. He is in the house of loss of service. And there is a Duryoga. So Rahu is the one who caused this problem. And if you take the business, basically, not business, if you take contract, the contractual work, do you see it from the 6th house or 7th house? 7th house. So from the 7th house, Rahu is in the Harasthana with the Marka Mercury. So he will exchange the results with Mercury, and he is the Marka for that particular thing. And also A3 is right there. And also Jupiter is the lord of A3 and 7th house, and Rahu is their arch enemy. So things are not so conducive during the Rahu period. And can you expect some relief in Rahu period? Very unlikely, because Rahu is not giving any good yoga. Even though he is in the 5th house of recognition, he is the 6th lord, and he does not show either success in getting a good service position or a good business position or good contract position. So Rahu I am not very hopeful of.
Venus is very conducive.
How is Venus?
It's a male dispositor.
Venus is the AL lord.
And aspect
He is basically, first of all, he is the king of the year. He is the ruler of the year. And he is the 9th lord. He is a functional benefic in this chart. Even in Rashi chart, he is the Lagna lord. Lagna lord in the 2nd from Arudha Lagna. Showing 2nd house from Arudha is financial position, status, etc. Money basically. So he is food. So he is promoting the 2nd house from Arudha Lagna. He is the Lagna lord. Forget the fact that he is in 12th from Lagna. It can show some need to travel or move, etc. But he is well placed from Arudha Lagna. And in the Dashamsha, we don't have a lot of time, so I will just quickly make the points. In the Dashamsha, he is the AL lord, he is Ghatika Lagna lord, but we don't know if it is accurate, so we will leave Ghatika Lagna. He is the AL lord, and he is in the 8th from AL. Benefits in the 8th from AL, what do? They give sudden gains, sudden rise. So,
he is also dispositor for A6 and A7.
what? Not dispositor, occupant.
He is occupied.
Yeah, he is occupying A6 and A7, unusual. What is A6 and A7? A6 is a service, A7 is some business. So it will be a combination of service and business. So it could again be a contract kind of position. But there is UL there. What does UL show? Some compromise. It could be some travel, some far away place, long distance, or it could be some compromise in the salary, some compromise in the contract amount. So something is there. But the thing is, Venus is in the 4th from Moon as well as Lagna. He gives some mental peace. Right now Rahu doesn't really show any mental peace. But why doesn't he show mental peace? Because the 4th lord Jupiter, no actually forget all those stupid points. He basically doesn't, he is not so conducive to mental peace. But Venus, from the Karaka of mental peace Moon, while Rahu is afflicting Moon by aspect, Venus is aspecting Moon. Venus aspect on Moon is very auspicious. Rashi and Graha of Venus on Moon is very auspicious. And his Argra is also very auspicious. And she is the secondary Karaka for happiness, apart from Moon. And his situation in the 4th house, without any afflictions. Actually, there are no afflictions. No malefic planet has Graha Drishti or Rashi Drishti on Venus. Only Jupiter and Moon have Rashi Drishti and Graha Drishti on Venus. Jupiter has 10th house aspect, Moon has 4th house aspect on Venus. So Venus shows some happiness. So relating to the career, there will be some happiness for the native during Venus period. When is that? After January 4. So I don't really expect any good news until January 4. So after January 4 and before March 15, that's when there is a chance of positive news. And which period is likely? Jupiter is, of course, Jupiter Antardasha is very likely. How about Moon?
Moon itself.
Moon is in Lagna.
So January 8 to 18.
Moon is in Lagna. So there is a good chance. January 8 to 18 is a very auspicious time. So keep sending your resume and keep trying. Mars is not very favorable. How about Mercury? He is very favorable. So January 23rd till February 2nd is again another very favorable period. January 8 to January 18, and January 23 to February 2nd, those are very favorable periods. There are some more, but bottom line is until January 4 very unlikely, from January 4 to March 15 almost assured. So that is the bottom line. You will have a sigh of relief during January February time frame. So all the best.
Yeah, thank you. I just want some person to manage 5 years. I want to work for 5 years.
Yeah. All the best session. God bless you. Okay, with that auspicious note, we will end today. Actually, I think we suggested some prayers for him for career earlier, so do those things. Whatever those were. Okay, that's good. But that has nothing to do with this. That has to do with your other problems. Yeah, health, the physical setbacks, etc. Okay, I will not actually turn it off. I will just leave it to you. Oh, turn it off. So, with that I will end for today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.